First is Terry Runnels. She's 37, being shown the door here. I guess it's a mutual agreement. They stopped using her on TV, so it's not totally unexpected, according to Dave Meltzer. She's been a television character for more than 13 years at this point. That's a pretty long run in this era. And it's also written, O'Hare being let go was also expected. He'd gotten over great in OVW, but that was due to his storyline as being Jim Ross's personal rep to counteract the Johnny Ace storyline of trying to mess with everyone in the company. But I really did think when I saw him in WCW and he could do the big swanton and he had the crazy hair and the cool look, this guy's going to be a huge star in the WWF. And it felt like we were headed that direction when he was associated with Roddy Piper. And then it just kind of went nowhere. Was reliability an issue, or was it something else with Sean O'Hare that kept him from enjoying more success?
I mentioned this earlier. You have to gain the confidence of the primary decision maker, which is another word for Vince.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, the rep on Sean O'Hare was not good. I don't know if it's attitudinal, just his lack of social skills. I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm like you, Conrad. If you just look at an 8x10 or a publicity photo of this kid, you say, well, he's a can't miss guy.
Right.
He's 6'4", 5". And his body's great. He's got a good face. He's memorable. And he, like I said, he just looked like $1 million. But it just didn't translate. And there's those various reasons why things don't translate. It generally comes back to, at the end of the day, a talent just not being able to embrace their audience and grow that audience. Hugs help, flowers help, and but I thought Sean was a guy that we were going to do some business with. It's just he never clicked. He never clicked, and it's a head scratcher sometimes and frustrating why these things happen.
We talked a little bit about Austin really walking away from WWE because he couldn't use the name Stone Cold. Well, in the middle of all that, The Rock appears on Howard Stern on April 2nd and says he's purchased the rights to use the name The Rock from Vince McMahon. He says the negotiations went easy, and Meltzer would say that's a big deal because until recently, he'd been trying to get Dwayne The Rock Johnson name to prepare for the dropping of The Rock when his contract ran out. His contract expires later this year, and that means at that point, the WWE would no longer get an executive producer title credit of his movies and a cut, which is close to, if not 7 figures per film. And Rock told Howard he's not sure what he's going to do about renewing the contract. My goodness, we've come a long way. Now he owns it lock, stock, and barrel. Do you remember the deal that was made for The Rock to be allowed to use that name?
It was a favor from Vince to Rock. It was futuring. Keep him happy. Make the talents happy, especially the ones that sell tickets and draw money. And I think that's kind of where that was, a favor. Why Austin did not get the same treatment, I can't tell you. I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me. You always want to do all you can to keep your top people happy. And Austin would certainly qualify as being one of the top people, if not the top guy, in our locker room.
Grandmaster Sexay Brian Christopher is going to come back to WWE on the Go Home Raw. He'll lose to Kane quickly in under 2 minutes. When we would see Brian come back periodically like this, more often than not, is this a favor to Jerry, do you think? Or was Vince high on Brian?
Well, we all knew that Brian had great talent and he had great charisma. But I think that the Jerry element played a hand.
Sure.
Jerry was an integral part of what we were doing. He was my broadcast partner for many, many years, as people know. And if I could do something to help him out, which would be getting his son a job so his son could make money and not have to get it from his dad, was a good deal. But Jerry's role in that whole aspect, that whole plan, was something to talk about. It was like real. It's just that, sometimes Brian couldn't stay out his own way. I had to let him go once or twice. and I knew him since he was a kid. So those things are hard for an administrator like I was in, but that's part of the gig. Part of the gig. It's not a fun part of the gig, but it's a part of it.
Let's talk a little bit about the big switch. I'm not talking about talent. I'm talking about behind the scenes. It's around this pay-per-view where it becomes official that Johnny Laurinaitis is going to replace you as head of talent relations. We've covered this in depth on our talent relations episodes in the archives, but this will be the first pay-per-view you called in a while where you're not running talent relations. Was this something that you were, does it make your day and your life easier? Was Jan in favor of this, or did you just view this as, man, I'm losing some ground here?
Oh, there's a lot of ways to look at it, Connie. Jan stayed out of it. Whatever was going to make me happy was going to make her happy. She wasn't a meddler. She didn't get involved unnecessarily, and that would have been unnecessarily, because you find out in wrestling that you can't get too over invested in things that you can't solve, and that goes for life in general. No reason to get all upset about something you can't affect. So that was a Vince decision, Vince call. It was totally a shocker to me that was how it was going to be. And of course, he's paying me a lot of money, and I got another office, and I got another title, and all these things. But that I took a lot of pride in how we built that roster. If you go back to the Attitude Era, I understand that everybody's got their preferences, but that roster was priceless. We had depth, we had athleticism, we had personalities, we had students of the game, just tremendous. So I took a lot of pride in that Attitude Era roster, and quite frankly, the success, the long-term success through stock and so forth, the Attitude Era played a major role in getting everything up and running, and it seemed like it worked out pretty damn good.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what AdFreeShows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-Free Shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that AdFreeShows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. AdFreeShows.com.